Have you ever noticed how fonts totally change the vibe of a brand? Well-designed brands know this and they use it to their advantage. So let's take a closer look. Maybe there's something we can learn. There are two main categories of fonts, and you've probably heard of these: serif and sans serif. So what's the difference? Why does it matter? Let's start with serifs. These are fonts with little feet or flourishes, which are called brackets, that live at the end of each letter. You can see it highlighted in the circle above. These give typography a sense of history and tradition, a feeling of something that's been around and isn't going anywhere. It can also feel academic and editorial. Times New Roman, Garamond, Bodoni, Mrs. Eves, there are a lot of different serifs you're probably familiar with. Then on the other hand, sans serifs, those are letter forms that do not have terminal brackets. And you can see they're without those little flourishes on the end. Sans is Latin for without, therefore sans serif translates to without serifs. In terms of serif fonts, and again that means with brackets, so we're talking about the top one, you can see this play out in the editorial world. Think of the mastheads of The Atlantic, The New Yorker, Vogue, New York Times. Those are all serif fonts. These definitely, in this context, feel academic and editorial, like you can trust the source. For some brands, serif fonts show up when the brand is rooted in craft, heritage, or a sense of romance. A good example of this is Flamingo Estate. Here they feature their logo beautifully embossed into the side of the actual soaps. And here it's beautifully displayed on their bottle packaging. Then there's a brand like Ralph Lauren, where the serifs reinforce the brand's deep roots in Americana, heritage, and craftsmanship. It's even a little bit romantic. They were also able to pair their serif typeface, their main hero workhorse typeface, with a sans serif. Here you can see it says Fall/Holiday 2025. And they've done that in A.T. Sacker's Gothic, which is a typeface that is kind of known as being editorial, even though it is a sans serif. It's very elegant. If your brand is built on heritage, craft, storytelling, or the slow process of making, serif typography will reinforce those things. Now let's look closely at sans serifs. Sans serifs are clean. They feature no feet, no flourishes. They're simple and made with modern lines. They feel minimal and future forward. You'll see sans serifs used by brands that lean into innovation, simplicity, or a design forward aesthetic. For example, here we have Merit Beauty. They're a modern clean beauty brand with a soft, minimal sans serif that reflects their less is more approach to makeup. And so you can kind of see how a sans serif supports that part of their brand personality. Then we have Alloy Studio. They're an emerging fragrance studio that uses sleek, pared back sans serif typography to signal experimentation and edge. And you can read down below, even their messaging talks about being experimental, maybe a little avant-garde, and their typography really plays into that. Then we have the Ace Hotel, an iconic boutique hospitality brand whose bold sans serif identity feels approachable, urban, and distinctly modern. So neither one of these, serifs or sans serifs, are necessarily better. It's just about which one aligns more with your brand. So when you're choosing your typography, ask yourself, what kind of energy do I want my brand to carry? And that's a good start on how you build a visual identity that fits and will last and grow with you.